Hey, Michael, can you hear us on your end? Can you do a sound check, please?
I can hear you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hear you too.
Good evening, everyone. If I might have your attention, we'll get our meeting started this evening. The time is 5:15 on April 11th, and I'd like to call our governing board meeting to order. Mrs. Valencia, may we please have a roll call?
Roll call for Ms. Jessica Bueno,
Here.
Mr. Regional Carrillo,
Here.
Ms. Erica de la Rosa,
Here.
Dr. Alicia Vink,
Here.
and Ms. Carmen Trujillo.
Here present, and my apologies. I did not begin with our tribal land acknowledgement. So I want to do that for sure. In partnership with the tribes who called Phoenix their home first, we acknowledge and respect the land our schools are built on. We commit to being a strong partner with any and all tribal nations who entrust their children to our schools. We are grateful and honored to be partners. With that, may we please have the Pledge of Allegiance, Dr. Alshire. Thank you. Thank you. Do we have a motion to adopt our agenda this evening?
Jessica Bueno, so moved.
Reggie Carrillo, I second.
Thank you. Any discussions, any recommendations?
I recommend that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Wonderful. May we please have a roll call vote, Mrs. Valencia?
Roll call for Ms. Jessica Bueno,
Aye.
Mr. Regional Carrillo,
Aye.
Ms. Erica de la Rosa,
Aye.
Dr. Alicia Vink,
Aye.
and Ms. Carmen Trujillo.
Aye.
Thank you.
With that, our motion passes. Thank you all very much, and we will move on to awards, recognitions, and announcements. The floor is yours, Dr. Davila Hagigat.
Thank you, President Trujillo, and our board and our cabinet and our community that's present in person and online. Today, we get an opportunity to honor several people and speak to some events that we've had as a community. And so to kick us off, we have Dr. Gonzalez.
Good evening, board and our visiting community. We are excited tonight to be able to have our art teacher from Garfield School, Ms. Deborah Schmidt, and some of our students, in particular Emilio, who's going to talk a little bit about the memory project that they've done. The memory project gets its name from its first intention, which was to provide handmade, heartfelt portraits as special memories to children in orphanage. Now the intention has expanded to touching the lives of youth around the world facing many types of challenges while opening our hearts and minds so they can touch ours in return. Our students in Ms. Schmidt's visual arts class at Garfield connected with children in Nigeria. The Memory Project organization sent us photos and information for 10 children, and our students got to choose which child they wanted to create an inspirational message for. However, students produced such an amazing amount of fabulous artwork that Ms. Schmidt had to send 23 pieces instead of 10. And so I'd like to have Ms. Schmidt come and talk very quickly about the project and for you to get to meet Emilio, one of the artists here.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here with us.
I probably don't need this because I'm a teacher and I talk really loud anyway. A couple years ago, I was sitting with my principal and we were talking about social emotional learning. And I asked her, I said, what is the one thing you really want the students at Garfield to learn? And she looked at me and she said, empathy. Okay. So I went out and researched to come up with some curriculum to engage our children. And I came across the Memory Project. And I thought, what a wonderful opportunity to connect with students in another country. And part of this process for them was to compare and contrast their schoolrooms, the way the children are treated there compared to the United States, what their classrooms look like compared to ours. We talked economics, we talked religion, we watched videos from UNICEF and got to know what's going on in Nigeria and the challenges that these children face every day. So I think we made our mark. I think my children really started to feel empathy and to get in touch with these children, which is why we had such an amazing amount of wonderful art that was produced. So we will, of course, hopefully do this again next year. Thank you. And this is Emilio. He is one of our artists.
Lots of smiles for Emilio and Ms. Schmitz that have done such an amazing job. Thank you. And thank you for taking that work and sharing it across our world. We appreciate it. So our next celebration, many of us had an opportunity to be at the educational showcase at Margaret T. Hans Park on March 25th. And we had hundreds of people joining us for a day of exploring education in Phoenix #1. All of our schools hosted a booth, showcase some of their own performances for our main stage throughout the day. And in addition, we had 15 community partners join us to offer information and hands-on activities for our children. The partners included Gentech, Arizona Barrio Stories, Phoenix Public Library, Mayor Kate Gallegos' office, Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport, the Mullen Foundation, and Farm to School Network Arizona, Playworks, the Arizona Puppet Theater, Phoenix Youth Circus Art, Rosie's House Instrument, Petting Zoo, Aliento Kepler Project, Wesley Center, Valley of the Sun, YMCA, Be Smart for Kids, along with our district's department. It's important for us to name these partnerships. They took the time to be a part of us, and we want to make sure that we acknowledge their presence as well. In addition, I would like to thank the Education Showcase sponsor, including Right 10 Construction, ADM Group, Chase Building Teams, Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport, and Gentech. And now we would like to share a short video showing from the Educational Showcase. So let's pay attention to our screen. And now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Manley, Dr. Alshire, who will share with us our next celebration.
All right. Thank you so much. Good evening to our governing board and to our community that is here in person and online. Just wanted to give a huge invitation for the Phoenix #1 community is invited to a student art exhibition called Salon des Enfants this Friday, April 14th, 2023 from 5 to 7 p.m. It's at the All One House located at 1204 East Roosevelt Street. We look forward to celebrating our student artists at this event and enjoying a gallery walk of great student artwork. It will be a wonderful way to spend a Friday evening. So looking forward to it. I hope everyone's there too.
Thank you. We also have the opportunity to celebrate yet again our Star Awards recipients. And I say yet again because we have been at their side surprising them. And it's just such a joy for our team to go out and really recognize these individuals. We have a few here, and along with them, we have some of their colleagues or administrators. If you are a Star Award recipient, will you please stand? Let's give them a nice round of applause. And we'd like to ask our board members to come down for a picture opportunity and our Star Award recipients as well, so that we can take a nice shot of this great opportunity that we continue to have. So don't be shy, our Star recipients, come up, and our board members as well. You all look fabulous. And then our board members, if you can hang tight for a second. Oh, we just lost Emilio. We just lost him. Okay, we'll take another opportunity. Thank you. Let's give him another round of applause. How exciting. And that is what we have for our celebrations tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Davila Hagigat. And for the information we received before. Yeah, I'm bummed we didn't get to embarrass Emilio a little bit with some more attention.
That might have been
That's so
okay.
great that they were both here. Yeah.
He might have seen it coming and just a quick exit.
Oh, how sweet. Well, I'm glad he came up. With
Super
that, we
sweet.
will move on to item D1 for board member reports. Oh, why do I always do that? My apologies. We are done with awards, recognitions, and announcements, and we will move on to item C1, Dr. Davila Hagigat, Superintendent's Report.
I want to start with more gratitude, more excitement to our gift and donations donors that have total $5,200 this time around. And without the support of our business partnerships, it becomes a lot more difficult for us to do what we want to do for our students. We had educational showcase sponsors, Arizona Cardinals for Herrera principal discretion. And we also had canned aid, Yamaha C40 guitars were donated for Kenilworth. And of course, Bank of America District, unrestricted for us. And so I just want to continue to thank our partners that support us with financial needs or resources. Today, I also want to speak to part of our personnel recommendations. You will see that Dr. Diaz and Ms. Jeffries will be included as part of our separation. And I want to thank them for their contributions. They really supported during COVID. They really supported for our events and, you know, continuing to build this district. And so I want to take the opportunity to thank them. Of course, we also want to share that our students are right now taking the Arizona Academic Standard Assessment, grades 3rd through 8th. And so a shout out to our students and our staff for preparing our students as they showcase their own talents, proficiency, and growth. It's a lot of work for the year. And right now we have that opportunity to really shine. And Dr. Elshire, of course, already shared with us about Salon d'Enfants. We really hope that we have a really great turnout from our district here, really enjoying the art. And so that is what I have today for our superintendent reports. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. With that, we will move on to our board reports. Do we have any board reports?
I do. I'd like to share. Let's see. Last time we saw each other, end of March. So on March 31st, I had the opportunity to meet with an outreach consultant that is going to be working on the CAP I-10 light rail extension. So that's the light rail extension coming from Washington to Central all the way down to the Capitol. And so we were able to discuss some of the impacts that might be happening during the construction. So definitely want to connect Dr. Hagiga and Ms. Botts, since Capitol School will be heavily impacted by the construction coming in the next couple of years. On March 23rd, I was able to attend our Family Resource Task Force meeting. It's such a great meeting to be able to receive updates on what construction looks like at our resource center at Kenilworth, but also the skill that was taught was reading proficiency. So that was a great ability for parents to learn how to implement at home. So thank you to Miss Cortez for all her hard work. Third, I was able on April 1st, I was invited to attend the celebration of accomplished teaching. So I was able to celebrate our Phoenix #1 teachers that maintained their certification or were certified. I think most of them maintained. We had some new ones, but that was such a beautiful night to celebrate teachers and all their contributions across the state. I was also this last Friday, first Friday, I was actually already went to go see our art exhibit. And so it was really great to see all their different art and ceramics. Their ceramics they made. I did purchase one, so that was pretty cool. And then last on Saturday, I was also able to attend a neighborhood meeting, Downtown Voices Coalition, where I shared our student outcome focused governance work. They were extremely impressed by the work and, you know, what this board has a vision for. So I was happy to share and get their support. And they also asked for ways how they could help our Family Resource Center. So we'll make sure to keep them connected, but that's been what I've been up to since our last board meeting. Thank you.
So for my update, as I'm a huge environmental justice advocate, especially in underserved communities. As you know, our South and West Phoenix communities, we have low tree equity scores. So our areas are highly impacted by the heat island impact, meaning that our temperatures in our neighborhoods are particularly higher than the rest of communities with higher access to green spaces, increased trees. So I've been doing a lot to reach out to nonprofits to get resources to increase our green space coverage, among a lot of issues that can act as a solution for the heat island impact and water scarcity. So one of those nonprofits that I have much gratitude, and so does our district, is Trees Matter, who has garnered resources for our school sites like at Hedetta, our parks in our communities near our school sites like Hedetta, other school sites too. And so we will, for the board, have an upcoming tree planting at Bethune, April 28th, which is also Arbor Day, in an area with a tree equity score of 61, which is pretty low. And so that's an attempt to increase tree coverage. Also, what that entails is education and maintenance for students to understand what it means to plant a tree. They'll get to name the tree, do lessons about the tree. So you all are welcome to attend that event, April 28th. I believe it's early in the morning. If you didn't get an invite, it's at 7:30. And so I hope you all can attend. I will be there, but yes, please attend, and you can see that kind of work that's happening. If you haven't gone to the Hedda one, there was Emerson, but we'll continue to do that to address this inequity in our communities.
Thank you. for all of those wonderful updates. I was able to attend AEA's Educators at the Capitol Day, one of 2 days that they hosted as they continue to lobby for increased funding in education, as we know we desperately need. And then I also wanted to just take a second to shout out to our teachers and school leaders who are finishing up their yearly evaluations right now. As some of you know, I am teaching 1st and 2nd grade this year in a neighboring district, and I had my second eval today. And despite having some incredible campus leadership, it's just a stressful process. So I just want to express my gratitude to all of our staff for their dedication to our students and really growing their practice. That's all I have.
Hi, and I just wanted to introduce myself since this is the first time that I'm actually here in person. Erika de la Rosa, I'm the new governing board member, as you can see, and I'm really, really excited and happy to be here. And I'm so appreciative of all the board members, of all the things that you guys are doing. So I hope I get a lot more involved. And I'm definitely here if you guys need us. So please reach out, don't hesitate. And we're only here to help you guys and make our school district better and help our children grow and be the best that they can be. Thank you.
Still haven't gotten used to having this extra wonderful piece of technology up here that we approved. Thank you, everyone. Big shoes to fill, so I don't actually have to say too much. I love how active our board remains in support of our students and our entire community. So I'll keep mine short. It is Autism Awareness Month, so I did want to send out some love, honor, and respect to our educators and staff that manage that always changing program, those resources, and for the dedication and time and intentional love that you give our students who need those programs. So please know we appreciate you and we do thank you for joining us and choosing Phoenix Elementary School to do that work. I also was able to participate or go visit the Alwyn House on First Friday to check out all of the beautiful art that is for sale. All the proceeds I hear go back to our students. Items I believe are $25 a piece, around that range. So I do hope we get some foot traffic at the event on April 14th. And with that, I will.
Is it cash only for the art? I believe it is.
That's what I
Just
mean, they
so-
were writing down, lists on what that looks like, but they're going to be there for a while, so we can definitely look into that. With that, we can move on to our next item. Is that our community communications? Do we have any electronic ones?
We do not have any electronic.
Wonderful. Well, this time is for public comment, so we've got 2 in person. I'd like to welcome Miss Leanne Greenberg up to the podium, please. Hi there.
Good evening, governing board and our superintendent. I'm excited to be up here today. Several years ago, some of you were up here and you passed having PESD do a professional agreement every year. And so every year we come together and we do our meet and confer process, and it results in a professional agreement. And I'm really excited today that we're presenting you with that professional agreement. It's been several years in the making, and every year we'll add more and more to it to become a better workplace for our educators here in Phoenix Elementary. I came back to Phoenix L. I am leaving after this year again, but being here, this is such a community that I can tell that values educators in many ways. We've got a lot of work to do to continue to make this a better place for educators. And this is really the right step to making sure that our educators feel welcomed and heard and supported here. And I also, this is a side note, but at Emerson, we are going to be having a literacy night in May, on May 9th. I got a grant that is helping us support that. And I would love to invite all of you there. We're going to start it at 5. And then afterwards, we will have a movie night. So you can stick around for that. But I'm really excited about it. It'd be a great way to be a part of the community and come to Emerson. So thank you, and please pass our professional agreements. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mrs. Greenberg. May we please welcome Ms. Marnie Burris to the podium, please? Thank you for being here with us.
Hi, good evening, governing board members and Dr. Hagikat. I'm actually here tonight with a message of thanks and gratitude, most specifically for the collaboration between both PECTA and the district meet and confer team on a robust professional agreement that I truly believe honors all professional staff. As we know, staff working conditions are student learning conditions. And it's my hope that in implementing such changes as staff prep days and a salary schedule, we can maintain and hire the kind of staff that can carry the board's goals for student outcomes forward. And with that, I just wanted to also by name thank, the PECTA meet and confer team and also the district meet and confer team, which was Dr. Diaz, Alicia Zelvis, Mr. Anthony, and then also Mr. Olmstead. Those were some really late nights, and, we got into some really, difficult discussions, but I think, as the president of PECTA, I often am on calls with other local leaders, and they don't have what we have here at Phoenix L. The thing that keeps us all coming back, I think, is really that although we may not always see the same way forward or have the same ideas, I think that we all understand and respect one another, and we all really are working toward the same goals. So with that in mind, I just wanted to say thank you again one more time to everyone. Thank you for those late nights, and thank you in advance for hopefully passing our professional agreement. Good evening.
Thank you both for being here. With that, we will move on to our consent agenda. Do we have any recommendations for our consent agenda this evening?
Yes, the recommendation is that the consent agenda get approved as presented.
Perfect. Do we have a motion to approve our consent agenda as presented?
Jessica Bueno, so moved.
Alicia Vink, second.
Thank you very much. Any discussion? Hearing none, may we please have a roll call vote? Mrs. Valencia?
Yes. Roll call for Ms. Jessica Bueno,
Aye.
Mr. Reginal Carrillo,
Aye.
Dr. Alicia Vink,
Aye.
Ms. Erica de la Rosa,
Aye.
and Ms. Carmen Trujillo.
Aye. Thank you. With that, our motion passes, and we will move on to item G1. Did I say that right? My internet blocked me from going back into the agenda, so I believe it's our enrollment.
The enrollment information update presentation.
Thank you. We have Dr. Gonzalez who will lead us with that.
Good evening, board member Trujillo, or board president Trujillo, members, excuse me, and our community, our superintendent. We are very pleased to have as one of our draft guardrails a response to barriers to enrollment. One of the areas that we've really begun focusing on is the how we provide after-school enrichment activities for our families as a way to attract people to our district, but also recognizing that many of our families need an extended opportunity for students to be cared for after school. We've found several partners who have been able to help us provide this service for our students. And so this evening, we're very pleased to have representatives from G Road who are going to present on the story. So Mr. Daniel Stanton. And, oh, yes, and Nikki is going to join as well.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. Hey, everybody. My name is Daniel Stanton. I am the founder and director of G Road. We use the after school space here in the neighborhood. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I think so. Can you guys hear me all right? So we use the after school space here to create opportunities for young people to just be equipped for adulthood and the weight of adulthood. And so our relationship with the district professionally started last year, just over a year ago, where we've been able to do some pretty incredible things in our partnership with Emerson Elementary School. Personally, my relationship with the district, where'd we go here? Started in 1987 at Whittier Elementary School, where I went. So there we go. Just like a lot of my peers, we all grew up in the neighborhood here, just a few blocks away, and we relied really heavily on community support organizations, after school programs, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, police activity leagues, everything that was available, we participated in it. Over the years, those resources became very fragile and limited to this neighborhood. And we rely very heavily on after school supports still to this day. And so we're here really to just kind of address that issue. We have an aligned interest with the district to make sure that we're just preparing kids for adulthood, right? And so that's kind of how we started. And this is our vice president of our board, Nikki Borselli, who grew up with me as well here in the neighborhood. And so we're going to introduce him as well, and we'll walk through a few things tonight.
Thanks, Daniel, and thank you, Madam President and members of the board. Really appreciate the opportunity to share some of the great work that we feel we're doing, as well as our passion for the work that we're doing. As Daniel mentioned, we grew up together, and we both know the power and importance of intentional relationships with caring, consistent adults. We believe that this is the foundation this is the foundation for true growth, learning and development. Daniel and I know this because we are products of this philosophy. We both grew up together at the Gable Boys and Girls Club just down the street. And we're also a product of Kids at Hope, being some of the first students to go through the program and truly benefit from this belief system that's grounded in hope.
Yeah, so what we do, we offer more than just like rolling the ball out and watching the kids. We're really trying to connect with these kids and make sure that that we're surrounding them with adults that are listening to them, and that we could provide programs that are important to them. I mean, never mind what Nikki and I want the kids to do. We want to learn from the kids and make sure that we are surrounding them with everything that they need. And so the word that we keep using is intentional, and we're intentional on all aspects of our organization. And so here's some of our goals and our beliefs and all that kind of stuff, and our priorities. And then we'll just kind of talk about some of the things we've been able to do. So what we do is we use the after school space to provide what we call comprehensive care. And that differentiates us from just being the regular watered down after school program that we've been seeing over the last 20, 30 years. We're really focused on the creative programs. And so what we've been able to do is we provide a gardening and sustainability program, media arts, photography, creative writing, and communications classes, design and illustration, health and fitness. And that is just our approach on the front lines there. But behind the scenes, we're also leveraging all the resources that we have inside and outside of this neighborhood to make investments so that we can have conducive after school space. It has always been an afterthought. And we all know that that after school programming is really a very important part of the educational journey. And arguably, you know, I mean, we believe in education, but it is a space where we can kind of let our guard down and we can really connect with kids and find out how we can best support them so that they are prepared for the weight of adulthood. And that is going to be a collective effort. And we've all aligned on that. And we've been able to do some really cool things. So that's what we're doing with the leveraging the resources. But we also know that we're not a single solution. Where there's a lot of community support organizations within this neighborhood, whether it's churches, whether it's foster homes, parents, you know, the school system and everything. There, a lot of things are fragile right now because of the current state that we're in. And so what we're trying to do is create a hyper-focused approach to make sure that this neighborhood has what it needs. It's a solution that is from this neighborhood, and it will be sustained by this neighborhood moving forward.
And no, you're good. As Daniel mentioned, GRO doesn't see itself as a single solution, but more an organization to help bring together the systems of support that do exist in this community, from churches, as Daniel mentioned, from churches to businesses to teachers and administrators. And so bringing these systems of support together really bring the programming to life. And by bringing in partners, we feel we expose the students to such great opportunities, everything from behavioral health services to a local yoga instructor coming to instruct yoga, and even the San Diego Padres. So through programming and partners and the wonderful G-Road staff on site at Emerson, we're really expanding the idea of what is possible. And in that loving, supportive, and intentional presence and interactions and relationships with these students that we believe will set them up on the best path forward to adulthood.
Thanks, Nikki. So we started the year with the contract for 80 students at the start of the school year. We currently have 198 students enrolled, which is 2/3 of Emerson Elementary School. And so this is a matter of weeks that we've been working on this stuff. So, I mean, this is because we've been welcomed very graciously by Emerson staff and the principal, Ladado, and everybody just like trusted in us. And so we came in there and we built a lot of trust with parents. And I think that they see, I see myself in these kids. And I think that a lot of parents, I see my mom in a lot of these parents. And so they understand that they could be comfortable and understand that their kids are not just being dropped off and watched by anybody, but we're actually trying to continue the school day and make sure that these kids are getting everything that they need. And so we talk to the teachers a lot and try to figure out what their emphasis are. And then we could try to find creative ways after school to make sure that we're continuing education after school. It's more than just, like I said, rolling out a ball. And so that's kind of where we're at. And I think that that's just, you know, we're not going to hang our hat on anything that we did this year. There's a lot of work to be done. But that is what attracted me to the district when we first had our original conversations, is that everybody on all levels that I've been talking to has been ready to work, that understand that there is something special with this district, but there is a lot of work to be done. And it's our responsibility as the adults, currently everybody at the table, to come together and find a path to be able to sustain programs like this. And so one of the things about us as a small nonprofit, we're very nimble and we were able to adjust due to the demand. And we added additional weeks to be able to fill in some of the gaps, because we heard from a lot of parents and they were wondering what are they going to do if we have a couple weeks off. So we were able to adjust, and thanks to everybody in this room who made that possible for us to do that. Some of the outcomes that we have, we invested $30,000 through a grant through a partnership as well with the Coronado Neighborhood Association to invest in the gardening space out there so that we can have a sustainability building right on site. And that project is currently underway right now, and it should be done by the end of the school year. I hope. I really want it off of my to-do list. But it's definitely going to bring some value to the school and create a space that kids can learn from outside. We'll be collecting rainwater, we'll be doing solar panels, and it will be something that we can all be proud of there at Emerson. And just a little healthy competition for the Mullen Foundation over there at Garfield. So, yeah. So anyway, we also invested in the Peace Path, and we were reached out to by the social worker at Emerson, Julie, who has been great for us. And we work closely to try to figure out ways to support each other. And this was an easy way for us to get involved and have a local artist come out and paint this Peace Path that allows kids to resolve their issues in a fun and creative way. So let's see here. So some educator feedback that we've gotten, again, I mean, we're doing the best we can as a small local grassroots organization. We've been around for 13 years, and to hear stuff like this from some of the teachers that have been at Emerson is just, it means the world to us. So this is from Adam Lovelady. I'm just going to read it, but I've been a teacher at Emerson Elementary for 13 years, and I have yet to experience a program so important for our school. G-Road has consistently proven that they will go above and beyond to provide for anyone and everyone. They have brought a level of high quality and prestige throughout the Emerson campus. And that means the world to us to hear that from a teacher who's been there in the trenches for a long time. Adam is also somebody, I don't think he's here tonight, but every time there's a school break, he's always reaching out and trying to like strategize and figure out how we can do better. And we've met every time there's a school break, Adam and I get together to find out better ways that we can bring more inclusive programs for his autism students. And so that teacher is dialed in, and we appreciate his feedback. We also had, this isn't a riveting quote, but it is a quote. We transferred to Phoenix One from another school district, which was ASU Prep, so that their kids could attend G-Road. So the parents of this child participated in our programs about 10 years ago and found out that we were at Emerson and immediately moved their kids to Emerson Elementary, where they're at now. You want to read one? Sure. Just for fun? Yeah.
I get to read one. This is the best part of being on the board. Seeing this feedback. I mean, and truly, as Daniel read, and with our community partners, I'll read them as well. But I think it's a testament to what we have been able to accomplish together. The board, Emerson, all of those within those organizations, and G-Road. And we believe so strongly in what we do and what everyone here does. And being able to collaborate and work together for the enrichment of students of this community means the world to us. So from one of our community partners, this year, G-Road partnered with Phoenix Elementary School District Number 1 and is operating programs at Emerson Elementary School. As it happens, this presented the most synergistic of synergistic opportunities. G-Road's after-school sustainability and wellness program is utilizing the CNA community garden space to educate students and support the ongoing operations and maintenance of the community asset. How awesome is that? And that's from Becky Santiago, the president of the Coronado Neighborhood Association. Also from Michelle Sembrano, who is a parent and a director of prevention programs at Southwest Behavioral. Said G-Road has been the highlight of my son's time in Phoenix Elementary School District. They built intentional programming based on the interest of the students attending, giving incredible opportunities for exploring different interests. Best of all, Daniel and his staff care, and it shows in the unique relationships they build with each child and their family. And again, this is a testimony to all of us, the community coming together to truly enrich their lives.
We also had a late entry from one of the parents. And so I want to read this one, and this will be the last quote for you guys. But this is from one of the moms, Dulce Encinas. And basically it says, thankfully, G-Road started at Emerson School this year, and it impacted Estrella in such a positive and beneficial manner. Here has always provided a safe after-school care space, and it will always hold a dear space in my heart. But G-Road expands and integrates the after-school care space to a space of development, exploration of artistic and analytical hobbies, reinforces critical thinking, and supports healthy social skills. G-Road has been a key factor in getting my daughter back on track with her confidence, her social skills, and her ability to speak up and present herself freely. So these mean the world to us. It just means that we're trying really hard on the front lines, and to hear like this from parents, where they asked us how they can help and if they could write letters or anything like that. And I was like, well, yeah, actually, we have something coming up. It would be nice if you did. So to hear this, I send it immediately to all of our staff and to make sure that they know that they're doing a good job. And it means the world to us. And we couldn't have done it without you guys trusting us. And trusting a kid from Phoenix Elementary 1. And so we trust the kids that we're working with now, and that is who we're here for. And that's who we want to rally around. So as we move forward, as we talked about leveraging all the resources that we have inside and outside of this neighborhood, it is very clear that the spaces for after school programming look like they did in the 80s. And that is unacceptable. We need to figure out a way to build creative, innovative spaces, not only for the current kids that are in the district, but other kids in the future that will be transferring into the district because we have incentives to participate in innovative after school wraparound services like G Road. And so our vision, and we've been working with a lot of different stakeholders within the downtown area here, is to be hyper focused and to have a place where we can call our own and that we can continue to do this work so families can rely on us, not on a year-to-year basis, but on just rely on us for years to come. And so this vision that we have, we worked on a few concepts. And this is going to be a place where the young people can come, and it will solve for a lot of gaps as kids transition out of 8th grade and we lose contact with them. That's a very important time in their life where they should not be losing support systems that they built from kindergarten all the way through 8th grade. That's a time where we need to figure out how to solve for that gap. This community center will solve that problem. It will also be day programming going on. And it will allow the emerging adults that are probably not going to be prepared, nothing personal, but for adulthood at 18 years old, we need to continue to find ways to support those kids and make sure that they are set up for success and have everything that they need. So this is one of our visions for that. Our timeline for executing this plan. Now we've been talking and I feel very confident that we're going to be able to come together as a group of adults to figure out how to make this happen. And so our timeline with the district was to create a plan so that by the beginning of our fiscal year on September 1st, that we can have a clear path to what this might look like. And there's a lot of options, and this is obviously gets complicated. And we have a team that we're going to bring together with the district team so that we can figure out a clear path that we can present to everybody. And we have some stuff scheduled, so that's what we're doing. As far as breaking ground, this is a little aggressive, but as far as urgency, I think that the longer these programs are not invested in, the more kids are going to be falling through gaps. And I think that it is all of our responsibility to act with urgency to figure out how to get this thing done. We have people on our team that have a lot of experience. We have resources that we brought to the table of our own. And I feel very confident that collectively we can come together and figure out a way to do something special. I really don't have anything else to say. I really appreciate everybody's time tonight. Thank you for being here. And if anyone has any questions, we're here for it. Do you have anything else? Yeah. Yes. Hello.
Hi, you mentioned resources right now, so I wasn't too sure if I was gonna double dutch into your conversation there, but how are we supporting 198 students when we planned only for 80? What are those resources? What does that look like?
Yeah, so we've been able to find like innovative ways to like lean on some of our partners, and then also our ratios have not changed. We're not seeing 198 kids every single day, or we would need more resources financially to staff appropriately. So thankfully, that hasn't been the case, you know, but that's what we've been able to find, just creative ways to do that and to lean on other partners who have been there. Like with the athletic program, we have some partners that have been involved at Emerson Elementary for a while now. And so we have not came in there and kicked anyone out or we welcome people, and we need people to be dialed in. We're just, you know, there to help create a little bit more structure, make the campus safer, and upgrade technology and do everything that we need to have a real program.
How many years is this in the making?
It's been 13 years.
I'm blown away because it's the leadership aspect of it is what I'm hearing that holds it all together. So I love that there's student outcomes focused governance words in here. So the inputs and outputs. So it's almost like an input number 4 or whatever should just be the leadership that goes into it, because without that, I'm assuming things would fall apart and we wouldn't be as successful as you are. Definitely enrolling all those kids that you didn't really plan for. So kudos, hats off. My last question is, how do we close the gaps? What could the district do to help make this something that we sustain it so we don't lose you?
Yeah, well, I think we're doing what we can right now. I think this is a good first step to be transparent and to let everybody know who I am and where we're at. Conversations are happening on all levels, and I'm encouraged by that. And so I think you guys are doing a really good job, and I appreciate everyone's like support, from top down, and so, yeah, I mean, we can always do better, but like, I hope that everyone feels comfortable with, letting me know where we can do better as well. And we can have that type of relationship so that we can build something that actually works and is sustainable for this community. And so I'm encouraged by that.
Yeah.
So.
I'd have a question. Thank you for your presentation. And my question is, what are some of the examples of the programming that you're implementing?
One of the programs that we just wrapped up last week was a partnership with Kids in Focus. So we have a media program that we run on a regular basis there. And we had a partnership with STN, which is a studio in downtown Phoenix. So prior to getting to the district, we would bus kids to the studio to let them like run a news studio by themselves. We just got a grant from the Thunderbirds for a bus for next year. So we'll be able to have our own transportation, which will be great. But this year we just built a green room and the green screen and did all of our media studio on site, but we partnered with Kids in Focus. And so they went on field trips, for 8 weeks. They designed they did some photos. And then last week they had an exhibit opening, which was really cool. This is one of their books that they have. All the kids got one of these. Their exhibit is going to be at the Science Center through May 4th. And so if anybody wants to go see it, it's in the lobby of the Science Center. But that was just an example of a partnership and us, listening to the kids, figuring out what they wanted to do, and then reaching out to our network to provide whatever their interest. Yeah.
Great, thank you. And then I kind of have some questions about your vision. When you talk about a community space, are you talking about like in the neighborhood, at Emerson? Can you clarify?
Yeah, so we've been looking at all options and to not limit ourselves. We love the idea of a school-based model where the kids are already there. We already have so many good things going on with Emerson and staff and just cleaning up communication and making it just a safe space. We really like that opportunity right there, a school-based model. When I was working with the Boys and Girls Club at Palomino School District, we opened one up and I was the staff that engaged the community there. That was about 10 years ago. And it's a very successful situation. And there's some logistics that we got to figure out, but all of that is very doable. There's, again, people on our team that are the designers of this school-based model. And so we feel confident that we can get that done, but we're open. We just want it one way or another. And so we don't want to limit ourselves, but I do think that with the partnership that we have here, it makes so much sense. And obviously you guys have assets like land and room to build something like this. Yeah, please do.
I think as Daniel was mentioning, this on-site, the Emerson or the district is ideal. But I think the bottom line is G Road is dedicated to this community. And we are willing to do whatever it takes in order to move this community into a 21st century sort of cultural hub that we can have our children truly learn and grow and develop and become contributing members to this broader community. So again, in an ideal setting, having a facility on site just makes sense. And it really provides that integration. So students are they're integrated, and there is that consistency from school to after school for the sake.
So is your nonprofit only functioning at Emerson, or do you have programming in other school districts?
We do not have programming in other school districts. So how we functioned before was we were partnered with the Boys and Girls Club that we grew up at, and we've been running programs. So that's where we got the kids. And then we utilize spaces within the neighborhood to provide relief for the branch that was busting out of the seams. And so we have a garden at the that we still have on 15th Street, just south of McDowell, a 7-Day Adventist community center. Underutilized facility. So we were able to turn that into a gardening and sustainability program. That's where that started at. And we were growing food for food box programs there. We were able to partner with the media studio. So the coffee shop that was on the corner right there of 15th Street is where we did our creative writing and communications program. So we offered all of our programs just in this neighborhood alone because we do believe in the consistency of that. We get asked a lot to go to different places that we are not familiar with, and we can go and run these. Some of the problems that exist in after school spaces and all of these like education, behavioral health places exist everywhere. So when we decided that we were going to create an organization and put our feet down in our own neighborhood, we believe that that is a sustainable model. And so we've been focused on the infrastructure here in this neighborhood. This year, due to our capacity, I'm the only full-time staff that we have. We decided to consolidate and to go all in with Emerson. And I think because of that, we've been able to collectively have the results that we've had in just a small amount of time.
That was going to be part of my question, is how much staff do you have?
So we have about 10 staff that rotate in and out throughout the week. So, and partners and volunteers, we have kids from Brophy that come down and get their hours. We have kids from North High School coming down and getting their different hours. And so we have part-time staff from a development standpoint, and we're able to do all that we can as a small grassroots organization to be able to pull our own weight. We brought all of our own resources and matched what the district brought with this relationship. We've matched those resources financially this year, and that's part of the reason why we've been able to do what we've done.
Thank you.
How late are your programming? How late do you have the kids?
6 o'clock is where we're at, but oftentimes it's 6:30, 7, so I think ideally if we needed to stay open later, we definitely would, just because we had to create structure and everything. We decided on 6 o'clock. That is what Peer Club had been doing. So we just followed that model since the families were used to it and stuff. When we were kids, it was open till 8, like the Boys and Girls Club. And it was like 5 of us there until 8 o'clock. But yeah.
Yeah, I do remember my son staying in Boys and Girls Club a little later after work. But so currently you're only at Emerson and you're only accepting and taking kids from that school. So there's no other kid in the district that can actually go if they wanted to?
So we have a couple kids from Herrera. We have a couple kids from Whittier that do come, but this is because of my relationships with people in the neighborhood that found out that we're there. So district students is what we're accepting, but we are often turning down kids that are not a part of the district to want to participate in our program, where we're not set up to do that right now because of the current the way that everything is structured. But I do believe that this would be a huge incentive to participate in the district. Obviously, the demographics of this neighborhood is shifting. And it would be nice to get some of the new Coronado families invested in education here. But it's also a lot of people that I grew up with and people that did participate in Phoenix Elementary School whose kids are not participating currently. And I think that can change very easily if we can add some amenities and some wraparound services that are going to provide and alleviate a lot of pressure from these families.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. My son has not really jumped into the G Road programs, but he has mentioned some of the things that other kids are doing. He's gotten into Rubik's Cubes recently and came home with it and he was like, I think they're doing that at G Road. I don't know. But anyway, the one question that I have, and I did pull up your website. I was like, did I miss it? What does the G in G Road stand for?
That's a good question. So it's for Granada Road. So basically I grew up on 13th Street in Palm Lane, but since I stepped out of the house as a little kid, we were always referred to as G Road kids. And that gave us a little bit of social currency in the neighborhood. But as we grew up, we realized that the adults really didn't think too much about us. An example of that would be at North High School. I was called into the office and was asked why I was walking with a certain group of kids. And they were been my friends since we were kindergarten. And he asked where I lived at. And he just said, oh, you're one of those G Road kids, once he found out my address. And so at that time, I started realizing that I was like, I don't really think these adults around us believe that we have much to offer. And so we wanted to take that name and use it and turn it into something good.
Okay,
and that's what it is.
Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that. So G Road is not faith-based at all?
It is not.
Okay, thank you.
I know you got a question, man.
No, I've seen it in action. I've been following the journey since we started with to build capacity where our peer wasn't able to reach those students. So thank you for filling that capacity, improving our capacity to reach our students, especially in their after school, so they can get that face time that they've lost during the pandemic. I don't have questions because I've seen it in action, and I have full confidence in what you all are doing for our students. So I'm just leaving it up to the rest of our board members to ask questions that maybe I'm not thinking of. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank
And
you.
thank you all for the questions that you have asked.
I was going to ask what G Road was, so I'm really glad Dr. Vink asked that. So I think my question would actually be to our wonderful administration on what does this look like for enrollment? What does this look like? How are we tying all this together? So.
Madam President, the enrollment for our after-school programs because our enrollment as a district has declined, our enrollment after school has declined as well. However, as you know, at the beginning of the year, Peer was not able to provide, because of staffing issues, the need that our families had. And so Ms. Zeeb in our federal programs department and Sarah Sims sat down together and they started working on writing a grant to attract programs to our after school programming. That's how we ended up getting G Road and ended up getting the YMCA, who are also helping to provide after school programming. So what we're trying to do is to make sure that any student who needs or wants after school programming or summer programming has a place to be in our district and a place that is providing quality programming. And so when you look at our inputs really are around that mentoring and caring environment for our students, building the students' leadership skills as an output. And then the outcome, of course, is highly satisfied families and community and confident and engaged students. So we're very excited about this. We do believe that a partnership with G Road is something that can help us to continue to expand those opportunities and to strengthen the kinds of programs that we provide after school.
And the part that I'll add is I too have seen them in action as I pop in and out of their space. Of course, go visit. Do you still have the hydroponics growing lettuce?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can get a lettuce head there. It's just so great. Even as an adult, you walk in there and you feel the calmness, you feel the peace, and our students need that. And I've talked for a little bit now about those internships and externships and allowing our kids to dream so that they can come back and develop their pathway. This partnership here gives us that. And so I know that they've sat with Mr. Manley to figure out what are some of our next steps. We want to do it well and we want it to be sustainable. And that's a vision that we share. And so right now we're in those details of what does it look like? We all want everything tomorrow. We know that because we love our kids as much as we do, but we know that sustainability is going to take that time. And for us to do it well, we're going to take that time so that we can work together and figure out our next steps that will be solid. So it's very exciting to always have student-focused adults that rally around what is next and how do we prepare our kids for a future that we don't even know what it's going to look like for them. So thank you for this partnership. I genuinely appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm really impressed. Thank you for the just hearing you've got Reba involvement is huge to me. That's like consistent Reba, like that's huge. So I'm just really grateful that we are partners, and I can't wait to see where this leads and heads, and I hope that encourages more, district enrollment as well as the after school part. So I don't have any other questions. Thank you very much for the information and for sharing all that with us. Thank you.
Sure, yeah. Thank you, guys. Yeah.
What does the timeline, Dr. Hagiat, look like for when we will be updated about the status of this initiative?
We don't have a set date right this second, but the enthusiasm really is exciting. And so as soon as we have something within the very near future, we will see what does it look like so that we don't mislead anyone. It's of high level of interest for all of us. And so we'll share that next update as soon as we have a little bit more information with you.
Thank you.
Well, we're up to item H1, which is regarding our resolution that we spoke of earlier in our study session. So I believe the floor will be Mr. Manalese.
Point of clarification, G2. I have Phoenix Elementary School Improvement
On
Bond Project.
presentation first, and then we do the resolution. See, I'm just getting
Mr.
ahead of
Manley, I
myself.
got so excited, I actually lost my agenda.
I'm gonna blame
So
you.
I'm glad
My
that we were able to catch each other on that.
My apologies. Since we did that presentation, yes, I'm sure we will have a blurb or two.
Governing Board President and Governing Board, if you would like, we've already taken a look at this presentation. So if you guys have any other questions that you'd like to ask, we do have our friends from Stifel that would be happy to answer anything that's come up over the last hour since we gave that presentation. Otherwise, there's a plethora of other action items and I'm already standing. So at your grace, however you'd like to move forward with that piece.
Thank you again, Stifel and Associates, for sticking with us, but I don't have any more questions either. So I think we could move on to H1.
I just want to comment and thank you all for spending so much time on making this information digestible for us. The reason we had requests for more information was because we are all new at this process and we want to be transparent with our community as well. So this is why we've taken these extra steps, but we apologize if it might push your timeline back. But thank you all for your work and your support during this time.
Thank you so much.
And with that, I'll motion to approve our resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of school improvement bonds.
Reggie Carrillo, I second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, may we please have a roll call vote to approve this item?
Roll call for Ms. Jessica Bueno,
Aye.
Mr. Regional Carrillo,
Aye.
Dr. Alicia Vink,
Aye.
Ms. Erica de la Rosa,
Aye.
and President Carmen Trujillo.
Aye. With
Thank
that,
you.
the ayes have it. Our motion passes and we will move on to our next item.
Mr. Manley also has the next item. He gets to be here for a little bit.
Our meet and confer. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, President Trujillo, Governing Board and Superintendent, I am very proud to offer for your adoption our meet and confer process that came about. We had some public speaking that was in support of that. I was able to come in at the tail end of a couple of the last meet and confer meetings, and we really came to some equitable pieces. Some of the highlights included a rate for extra hour work. We took a look at the master salary schedule. Took a look at the classroom site fund pieces that would fit more readily into the M&O piece to give the district a better standing. We took a look at the district calendars and agreed to those pieces. And then we also took a look at a PTO buyback piece that we're going to try to pilot this upcoming year based on the already board adopted percentages of PTO accrual, and then having that capped at a reasonable rate so that we can take a look at how it works this year, and then hopefully meet again with Meet and Confer and see how that went and keep that ball rolling. But without further ado, I would ask for you to adopt the work agreement pieces that PECTA and the team has come up with.
Will we be hearing from PECTA?
I don't believe so. I think that they had the opportunity to talk at the although they're right back there, if they want to come up, I'm sure that we can.
I would appreciate to hear from PECTA and just your experience during this process. And I know it took a lot from you guys to come back to the table multiple times. So I just want to hear from you guys and how you feel about this agreement.
Really bad nightmare where you get called up to the front of the class to give a report, but you didn't write it. I'm sorry, what was the question?
No, I just want to hear from PECTA, your experience being at the table. You know, how did we get to this point where this agreement occurred?
Well, I think, like I shared earlier in my community comment, it was a very collaborative process. So every year, PECTA, and this is my third year as it's my second year chairing, my third year as a co-chair, and my fourth year on the Meet and Confer team, because I am a glutton for punishment. No, I'm just kidding. It was actually, this I think was the most collaborative process that we've ever had. Okay, hold on. Sorry. I'm so unprepared for this and I feel like I'm stumbling through it. So just bear with me. So every year we survey the entire staff of the district, all certified staff, because PECTA does represent all certified staff, whether they are members or not. So we really looked into the data and what people were asking for. And we brought those asks to the table with the understanding that some of our asks were maybe a little big, but we were like, hey, just where can we meet with this? And really, I think the district team did a great job, and Mr. Manley as well, coming in and saying, okay, like, this is the reality. This is what we've got, and here's what we can do. And then also, Vice President Bueno, thank you for showing up and also being a support, and I think representing kind of both sides there for us. It was, I think, a really positive experience, very collaborative, and we're all very proud of the work that went into this.
Yeah, thank you for your time, and thank you to all the PECTA leadership team for all their hard work. I know you guys started this process months ago, so I'm glad that we were able to get somewhere and ready to approve this.
And Marnie, I just have a question. As someone who co-chaired through this process, what are some highlights that we should be especially proud of, or for teachers that through this meet and confer?
So I think some of the things that we can be especially proud of are, we came to an agreement with staff prep days. Those were something that were overwhelmingly asked. I think something like 84% of the responses to our survey had just said, hey, we're seeing other districts doing this, and could we do this? And then bringing that back to the table and saying, okay, well, what could that actually look like? And, how do we do something that's going to be beneficial for everybody? Because at the end of the day, like I mentioned in my community comment, although we may have different ideas about how to get there, I think both the district team and the PECTA team, we're all here. At the end of the day, we're here for student outcomes. And that's, I think, what we all care about the most. So that's something we're really proud of, this PTO buyback program that Mr. Manley, is it Manley or Manley?
Manley, it's 3 syllables.
Manley.
Manley.
Okay,
Yes.
good. All right. That he had mentioned before is also a really big deal because I think, you know, we had a lot of comments earlier in the year just about how using PTO isn't always available. Just unfortunately, where we are at currently with public education, we don't always have staff to cover those absences, or, you know, so if you're planning an absence, you might not be able to take that time off. And so PTO doesn't really become as much of a benefit when you can't utilize it how and when you'd like to. And so, you know, being able to recognize that, yes, this is your PTO and it does have a monetary value, I think is a really huge thing. And the fact that this PTO buyback program that we're talking about isn't just for people who are leaving, but perhaps for a staff member who is at the end of the year and saying, you know what, I just had this, you know, horrible financial circumstance, like my car exploding or whatever, and I can cash in some of my PTO and maybe not be in such a difficult position. And I think that's something that, you know, we should all be very grateful for, because I don't know many districts who show that level of care for their staff.
Thank you. And know that we're always working to bargain in good faith with the information that we have. And I know that compensation study is one of them. So I can't wait till it's released. And so you all can look at it and if need be, make improvements where they need to be improved for our students, for our teachers, and then for our students, of course. So thank you for everything.
And one other thing I would like to say now that you've mentioned that is when we were updating our professional agreement, we were able to go through and say, you know, last year we had asked for a professional, or we'd asked for in our professional agreement, a salary schedule. And within a year, PECTA was able to be part of the process of selecting JB Rewards systems and meeting with JB Rewards systems and giving input. And, you know, for that to happen within a year, to go from not having a salary schedule in place to now potentially having a salary schedule in place, I think really speaks volumes about the collaborative nature of this process. Again, I just say thank you. I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's one of the things I was looking for. I know we don't have our study on the agenda anymore. We pushed that back. So does that salary schedule go with this item?
So the agreement the PECTA has agreed with the framework for how that should work. So the equity framed master's calendar and using classroom site funds to make sure that everyone is treated with equity. That's what this agreement reflects. So the details will be coming shortly, and then at the next board meeting, we'll go over that with a fine-tooth comb and hopefully agree and move on into the future with an equitable master schedule that we can stand behind.
Got it. So it's separate from this item.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right.
I just have 2 questions. How, as Marnie mentioned, districts do not do things all the same. So how do we let potential new teachers know that we do these things? I know that word of mouth is a great recruiter, so start talking. No, but also, like, what is the plan?
This is something that once approved, we need to be very intentional about it. There are several things that Phoenix #1 does that other districts do not. And what's being mentioned here is one of them. Later, you will hear about our benefits and how we're probably the single district now that covers that for our employees. So for us, it's very important that we put it out on the webpage, that we make sure that there's intentional efforts being put out there, including word of mouth, which we know that it's very strong. But we just have to make sure that we hit every single communication way of doing things so that our teachers can, #1, feel valued, and we can continue with a high retention rate. But we also want to make sure that other people are hearing about Phoenix #1 so we can continue to get high qualified, high quality individuals to come and work for our students. So intentional is ultimately what we need to be.
Beautiful. And then my second question, was just on the in-service days following breaks. I know that it says something about keeping instructional time consistent and making those Wednesdays full days. Did we do that because we legally could not reduce the instructional time, or because as a leadership team, we didn't want to? Anyone know? It's okay if you
I
don't know.
believe that was a conversation that the meet and confer team agreed to on their own, that
Okay.
it was important for students to have time with their teachers, but that the teachers needed the time to plan and prepare in a full day chunk.
Okay.
So yeah, when we brought that, actually, I want to again shout out the district team, because it was like, yeah, we're down to do this. So it can either cost money or it can cost students instructional time. And before I'm anything, and before I think anyone impacted as anything, we're teachers. And I was like, nope, we're not losing instructional time. And I don't think it has to cost money. Can we look at another solution? And the district team was like, yeah, what do you have? And so, we came up with the idea of extending either a Friday prior or previous before a extended break, or some of the half day Wednesdays. And we actually did go, myself and the Vice President, John Franklin, went to one of the parent meetings and kind of answered questions and presented this. And by and large, families were, really supportive of the idea.
What type of parent meeting? Sorry.
They attended the Family and Community Engagement Task Force
Oh, I
and talked
see.
to the task force about the idea.
Okay. I would still like a board update on whether or not it's a legal amount of time, or whether it's just, does that make sense? Like if we, are you following me?
I am
Thank you.
understanding your question, and we'll give you a board
If
update
someone's
on.
following me.
Yeah, we
Thank
just
you.
need to make sure whether this was something that we could have done without needing the instructional minutes. And so we'll get that for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I would like to motion to approve the 2023-2024 Phoenix Elementary Classroom Teacher Association Meet and Confer recommendations.
Alicia Vink, I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, may we please have a roll call vote, Mrs. Valencia, to approve this item?
Roll call for Ms. Jessica Bueno,
Aye.
Mr. Regional Carrillo,
Aye.
Dr. Alicia Vink,
Aye.
Ms. Erica de la Rosa,
Aye.
and President Carmen Trujillo.
Aye.
Thank you.
With that, our motion passes. Thank you very much, everybody. For carrying out that process. We will move on to our next item regarding our insurance. Oh, that's right, our ESSER stipends, ESSER 3, my apologies.
We continue with the way we value our employees. And with that, we have Mr. Manley sharing about our ESSER stipend.
Sure. So President Trujillo and Governing Board and Superintendent, we would like to bring to the board the opportunity that we have to give a one-time retention bonus from ESSER funding at the end of this school year for all of our staff that is returning to us next year. And that'd be a one-time retention bonus of $1,500. That's in addition to what we had talked about for the school year. And it's based on taking a closer look at the ESSER 3 monies that we have available and what was approved in our ADE plan. So this is something that we can use ESSER money for. And it would again be a bonus for all of our employees in the amount of $1,500. And then keeping in mind that we are still keeping very, very close tabs on our ESSER 3 funds. And if we can take a look at that, there might be something coming up down the road. But right now we can, I'm asking the board to approve this additional ESSER funded one-time bonus for all of our staff members.
Can you clarify if it's ESSER 2 or 3?
This is ESSER 3.
Okay, thank you. Because the rationale says ESSER 2.
Oh, then I have it written down in two different ways, but it is ESSER 2 funds. This was approved from the
Two.
ESSER 2 ADE bucket.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So then I will motion to request approval of ESER two retention bonus.
Alicia Vink, I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, may we please have a roll call vote, Mrs. Bones?
Roll call for Ms. Jessica Bueno,
Aye.
Mr. Regional Carrillo,
Aye.
Dr. Alicia Vink,
Aye.
Ms. Erica de la Rosa,
Aye.
and President Carmen Trujillo.
Aye.
Thank you.
With that, our motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Bueno, for clarifying which bucket of money that's coming for. And we can move on to the insurance item. Thank you very much, everyone.
One more item for Mr. Manley and team. Come on up and we'll have the opportunity to share more about our insurance providers for the 23-24 school year.
Governing Board President, Governing Board and Superintendent. I'm giving IT the wide eye here about getting that Zoom squared away for Siegel to join us. I'm getting a nod. We're good. We're already on. So fantastic. So it gives me great pleasure to present our insurance package for next year. When you take a full look at Maricopa County as a whole, we're one of very, very few districts. In fact, none of the ones that I talked about were able to do what we've been able to do as Phoenix #1. So this has been a good day for our employees. What I'm going to present to you is basically our insurance package for next school year. Through a negotiated rate, we were able to see a 5% increase across the board for insurance. Other districts in their surrounding footprint are between 11 and 16%. Based on our negotiated increase, the footprint for our employees is going to be $0. So whenever taking a look at what we have available as a district, we were able to basically foot the bill for all of our employees. So they're going to see a $0 increase and no decrease in their benefits. And with that, I'd like to introduce Mr. King, our friend from Siegel, who's on Zoom. I'm looking over there to our IT folks. I think we're good.
Thank you, Mr. Manley.
Yes.
Thank you, Governing Board. I appreciate the time this evening. As Mr. Manley kind of mentioned in summary, this year was actually a pretty positive year in terms of employee benefit offering for 23-24. If we want to, I'll just go through kind of some of these presentation slides briefly to kind of provide a quick update on what we were looking at and where things ultimately landed. So as Mr. Manley mentioned,
I'm going to interrupt you for a second. If you can get closer, this is Dr. Davila Hagigat. If you can get closer to your mic, we're having a hard time hearing what you're sharing with us.
my apologies. Let me make sure I've got the right.
Perfect.
Is that better?
A little bit. When you said my apologies, that sounded perfect. So whatever you did there.
Interesting. Okay. Let me try.
It's good.
I'll just speak up it loudly. Okay, awesome. So on April 5th, we met with the district's insurance committee and ultimately reviewed the same presentation, had a lot of great discussion, but ultimately what was kind of adopted or approved by that committee was the 5% United Healthcare medical prescription drug renewal increase, the approval of no increase to your employees out of their contribution out of their paycheck, which is great, and then the acceptance of the ancillary renewals, so the dental, life insurance, vision, things like that. And we'll go through each of those in the next couple slides, if you don't mind advancing. So here we have the renewal summary. And as you can see in the top section, it's really looking at the annual premium for each of the service coverages that are provided to your employees. The big piece, as you can obviously see, is United Healthcare. They provide your medical and your prescription drugs on a fully insured basis. And that increase was really, it's 5% increase, but that was negotiated as a part of the RFP process that took place last year. And since it was a fully insured product, we were able to negotiate in the previous procurement process this 5% second year rate guarantee, which is pretty unique when it comes to fully insured contracts of this size. Typically, underwriters, they don't want to provide anybody with a guaranteed second year rate. So we think this is kind of an interesting piece of this that really provides a lot of value for the district, because if you did not have this, second year rate cap of 5% in place, the increase would have been a little bit less palatable. It would have been higher and it would have been a little bit harder to maybe pull off the no increase for your employees. So that piece was pretty integral to this overall negotiation process going into the 23-24. Additionally, you have your Delta Dental of Arizona who provide your dental as well as your vision coverage, and those are not increasing at all. So those are in rate guarantees. This is going to be upcoming is going to be the second year of 3-year rate guarantee. Your life and AD&D are also locked in. This is going to be the third year. There's no increase there. Your short-term disability is also with Symetra, no increase on that. Again, that's going to be the third year of a 3-year rate guarantee for this upcoming plan year. Your EAP, your co-administration, and your FSA administration, they're all staying unchanged. So current rates are going to carry through into the upcoming plan year. So this is really positive news. As Mr. Manley had mentioned, our other clients and your surrounding districts, they're seeing larger increases than what is being presented here. And it does create a little bit more of a difficult conversation. So I think that this is really positive news to share with you all and with the employees of your district. If you wouldn't mind advancing the slide really quick. Here is the actual contribution strategy or model that is going to be being presented for 23-24. And there's a lot of numbers here. I'm not going to touch on all of them, but in large part, that top section is looking at the total premium rates that are being charged by United Healthcare, both in the current plan year, so you can see what the current basis is, as well as the upcoming plan year. And so you can see what that looks like for each of the 3 plans that you offer to your employees. You have the high deductible health plan, the doctor's plan, as well as the PPO buy-up. So you provide your employees with a considerable amount of choice, which is a huge benefit to those employees. Below that, it is breaking out that total premium rate into what is paid for by the district and what is paid for by the employee. And for 23-24 plan year, as Mr. Manley had mentioned, the district is absorbing the entire cost increase given in that United Healthcare renewal. And so the employee and their dependents are going to have the same exact rates they have currently. So there's going to be no change in their paycheck from a withdrawal perspective or a contribution perspective, which is pretty unique in these times where we're going to talk about shortly what medical and prescription drug inflation and trend looks like. So this is something that we think is positioning the district well to maintain really competitive, cost-effective benefit for your employees. And I do want to mention just briefly that bottom section is outlining what the plan design looks like. And we're happy to note here that there are no plan design differences. So it's exactly the same benefit plan that you're offering today, and you're just doing so going into 23-24. Next slide. We wanted to discuss this really briefly because we think that this is a really important conversation. This is a history of how the district's been funding and what insurance carrier they've been with. And so going back into the 2017 to 2022 year, you were with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona, and you were on a fully insured retention accounting contract. When that time came up, that contract expired, you all went out to a bid process and selected United Healthcare. And in that selection process, there was a considerable amount of savings by choosing or awarding United Healthcare. The premium actually had savings of just over $300,000 in total for the district. So not only did you not experience last year that trend increase that a lot of your constituent districts or nearby districts are seeing, you received a lower rate than you had in place. It's a very nice way to keep it a competitive advantage, of course. And with this new contract, you still have the retention accounting, and the retention accounting piece is really crucial because it is while you're in a fully insured contract, meaning the insurance carrier absorbs and carries all of the risk. So you pay them a fixed dollar amount per employee, and they pay all claims associated with your employees. And so the risk is truly on them because they could have a really bad year and you pay $5.5 million in premium, but they spend $7 million in claims and they would have to absorb that. Where the retention accounting piece comes into play is it allows you to, in good years, in positive years where they would be paying out less than you paid in premium, you can share in that savings. So it really is a nice way to structure these fully insured contracts to allow you to have some upside should the district, have a really positive claims year. Next slide, please. And this is really showing the rates by plan for the past few years. And the only thing I want to point out here is that I think is pretty interesting is the fact that if you go back a couple years and look at the rates associated with those different tiers in each of those plans, the rates being proposed for 23-24 are actually lower than the rates that were in place a couple of years ago, the premium rates. So again, the district's doing a great job of managing the employee benefit piece of this and offering a really cost-effective benefit for your employees. That's been very consistent over the past few years. Next slide, please. Every year, Siegel provides or conducts a national trend survey. And we have over 100 respondents to the survey, and there's usually large insurance carriers, all the large insurance carriers, as well as a lot of large third-party administrators, and some very large clients as well. And what we find every year is a little bit different. This year, this was basically conducted in October 2022. And so a few months from now, we'll be updating this. But what we were looking at is basically we project a per person cost trend for a preferred provider organization plan, which is the type of plan that you have, to be about 7.4% in 2023, meaning that if you had no change in benefit plan design, we would expect your cost to be almost 8% or 7.5% more expensive, just due to the fact that the unit cost is increasing. There's a leveraging effect from Medicare. There's a number of items that go into what creates this trend, but nonetheless, we would expect you to be about 7.5% more expensive. And on the prescription drug side, it's even worse than that, due to the fact that we're seeing huge double-digit specialty cost trends, almost at 14%, weighted in with the other more traditional drugs. We're seeing just under 10% for 2023. And so you kind of blend those two together, that 7.4%, that 9.8%, and you'd expect to see, again, on the same benefit plan design, north of an 8% trend increase. And again, we were able to negotiate with the district and with your insurance carrier to provide that 5% rate cap. So it really puts you in a positive position. And the next slide really just shows you, I believe, kind of a historical look at how these trends have actually played out versus projected. And you can see that obviously there's a big dip in 2020, which was correlated directly with COVID and the fact that everybody who was, had some sort of non-essential care, they were able to defer that into in the future. Nobody wanted to go in mid-COVID and have their knee replaced. If it was something that was elective, they really didn't handle it. They kind of pushed it down the road, and you can see that dip with the corresponding kind of increase in 2021. And so now we think that is behind us. We're looking at more of a kind of a historical trend levels in that 7 to 8% ballpark. So we think we have seen all that deferred care that's come back. And really, I think we're looking at just something more, traditional in terms of these trends going forward. And with that, are there any questions that I can answer or that Mr. McDeesey here can answer?
Thank you, Mr. King. I don't see any questions from the governing board. We look forward to seeing you in person at your next presentation. That'll be very exciting. And before we kind of wrap this up, I'd like to point out Crystal. I'm happy to stand up here with a suit and take some credit for this, but really Crystal was the amazing driving force that got us to where we're at, to the benefit of our employees. So I just wanted to take a minute and say that your efforts are much appreciated.
Thank you, Ms. Crystal.
Really excited to say that there's going to be no increase for employees. I take every win I can. And so this was a really exciting win. And if you have any questions for me about our benefits program, please feel free to ask.
I do. I'm glad you came up. I just want to really fully understand this contract date. It being June of 2023 in our reading. So I know all of our numbers are 23, 24. So I just really want to understand that. I guess maybe it's the RFP process. So I just want to know.
That's what it could have been. I was looking at that today with Dr.
Okay.
Hagegat, and I wasn't quite sure what you guys were talking about with that. But our insurance does run July 1st through June 30th of every year. So that could have just been the termination of that year's benefits. And then our next benefits start July 1st of that same year through June 30th. And our contract with United Healthcare is currently a 5-year contract. This is our second year. So our contract will end on June 30th, 2027. I believe we did the math today.
Yes, I do. I remember getting it where the RFP will go 2026. So be ready.
Correct.
Yep.
By
Yes, we will go to
2027.
RFP usually around October of 2026 for that, because it is definitely about a 4-month process.
Okay, perfect. It's just the wording in here says that we end, we'll have the contract extended until June 30th, 2023. So that's where all the
Yeah, and I
confusion
believe they're just
started.
talking about the benefits run through that, and then we go in open enrollment in May 1st, and then our benefits start July 1st of 2023 for the new school year.
For the new school year.
Correct.
Okay, so annually, we just kind of keep redoing this system to make sure costs and all that
Correct.
are current, and then we go year to year until we get to the RFP process in 2026.
Correct.
Okay, just want to make sure I absorbed it all. Thank you so very much for all of the hard work put into this. Any other questions? All right, do we have a motion to approve this item?
Alicia Ving, so moved.
Roger Carrillo, I second.
Thank you. Hearing no discussion, may we please have a roll call vote to approve item H4? Mrs. Valencia.
Roll call for Ms. Jessica Bueno,
Aye.
Mr. Regional Carrillo,
Aye.
Dr. Alicia Ving,
Aye.
Ms. Erica de la Rosa. Aye. And President Carmen Trujillo.
Aye.
Thank you.
With that, our motion passes to approve the renewal of our insurance providers. Thank you guys very much. All right, that brings us to item I1. Do we have any board requests?
I just want to request an update or report on our discipline data.
I have a small request. I would like to invite all the board members and administration to visit Garfield and their little farmers market Thursday. They are at it again, I believe at 1:30. So that's my board request for the moment. Will I check my notes? Any other ones?
Yes, I would like to request just looking into the feasibility of our practicality synonyms of switching to a 4-day work school week. Just comparing it to, I know another school district, and I've talked about this previously. I know it was Cartwright, I believe, who has switched to a 4-day work week, but seeing if that would positively impact our school financially, or even more so just in terms of our student learning, or not, but just what is that impact to us?
Thank you, Mr. Carrillo. I'm glad you brought that up. I was reading about that, and it sounds even as like a possible incentive for teacher retention. So thank you. Any other board requests? All right, thank you all very much. We'll move on to future agenda items. Let me check my notes really quick. already requested them all. So with that, we'll move on to adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn our meeting this evening?
Alicia Vink, so moved.
Reggie Carillo, second.
Thank you. Hearing no discussion, will we please have a roll call vote to adjourn our meeting at 6:59?
Yes, roll call for Ms. Jessica Bueno,
Aye.
Mr. Reginald Carrillo,
Aye.
Dr. Alicia Vink,
Aye.
Ms. Erica de la Rosa,
Aye.
and President Carmen Trujillo.
Aye.
Thank you.
With that, our motion passes and we will adjourn this evening. Our next board meeting is scheduled for April the 25th at 5:15 PM here at the district. Thank you all very much for your time tonight. See you in a few weeks.